let's see how many ideas we can come up with of what we can do with paper to keep it from being in our trash. And if you just would put that in the chat, and if my team members would be able to keep track of that, as I cannot see the chat. And wild and crazy ideas. This is when we want to hear about those. And there's a saying, I don't know if I'll get it right, that it's easier to tame a wild idea than to excite a dull one. I know I didn't say it right. Leslie is the one who usually gives us that quote.
Did well.
Earplugs. I love that.
Well, could you read them for me so I can?
Oh, yeah, there's some great ideas coming out and people are doing a great job. So I see cat litter, I see cardboard layering with compostable materials, packing materials, break it down and use it for substrate for mycelium or mushroom growth. Compost or bed supply, mulch, cut for message paper, insulation, burn for fuel for creating electrical power, wrap up old appliances and burn broken furniture.
Great.
Organics make up the highest amount of product. I think paper is next, followed by plastic. Oh, that's Jason's. Clean glass bottles for fill and layering.
And our minute is up. So look at all that we did in a minute. Imagine if we could make all those suggestions to everyone in the territory. That would really help us. All right, very good. Thank you for your participation in that. And we're going to enter in a little visioning exercise, but before we do that, I hope that you either have the template that we sent out of a storyboard. We're going to be working on a storyboard after our meditation. And so I'd like you to have that handy. If you don't have it, it's just a table, 6 boxes. So we'll talk more in detail about it after the meditation, but please have that paper handy along with any drawing materials that you might have, because we're going to be working on that after the meditation.
Okay.
Just quickly, is the template available for download for those who don't have it handy? Is it somewhere on the website?
I just put it in the chat, and so hopefully everyone in the meeting can download it from Zoom.
And you can very easily draw it yourself as well.
All right.
Okay.
So Deborah, I don't know if you want to share music during this time so that we're not switching back and forth, or did you want me to?
If you have it, oh, I'll need to stop sharing. Yes, I'll need to. Yes, right. Sure. Okay.
Okay, everyone. So now we're going to ask you to do some visioning. So I'm Camille McHale, as Deborah said, and what I want you to do in this session is just to imagine. We're going to imagine a Virgin Islands where solid waste is perfectly managed. So this is what I want you to do. So I'm going to lead you through this. I know some of you online are probably expert at doing this, lead guided meditation. So this is just my foray. I cannot start screen sharing. Is someone else sharing music?
Oh, that's me sharing the music.
Oh, awesome. So I don't need to. Okay, thank you all. All right, so I want you to close your eyes, everyone, and just breathe. Feeling your breath, hearing your breath. Now imagine a VI, a Virgin Islands, perfectly managed solid waste. I need you to use all your senses. Be vivid. Be vivid in your imagination. Relax and let that image form in your mind. What are you seeing? What does it look like? What does it feel like against your skin? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? So imagine a Virgin Islands where our materials are perfectly managed. Now let's blink our eyes open. Remember that vivid picture because we're going to use it in this next set. Good. Debbie is going to lead us through the next session, which is the actual storyboarding.
Yes, I hope you all are relaxed. And now we're going to wake up and get to work here. All right, great. Okay, so if you have the template in front of you, you will see in the lower right-hand box, number 1, desired future, and in the upper left box, 2, where we are now. So here's how we're going to start. We start it with the number 1, desired future. And in a few moments, you'll have time to, in that box, to draw. We would like you to draw your vision for the future. That vision that you just, during the meditation, how you saw the world, how you saw the territory where solid materials are handled perfectly. Draw your picture. What does that look like? What does the land look like? What does the ocean look like? What do our towns look like? And then you'll move to number 2, where we are now. And so as you look around our territories, you move around, what is our current reality in terms of solid materials, management? What do we see now? We see the dumpsters, and we actually looked at the landfill in one of the sessions. So in that box, we'd like you to draw that picture of where we are now. And then in boxes 3, 4, 5, and 6, what are the steps? That's where you're going to draw the steps that we need to take to get from where we are now to where we'd like to go. So how might we get from what we see? What's the first thing we might have to do to move towards that? What happened? What next would we have to do? Or maybe when you think of, oh, we should have everyone should pick up their litter. Well, you might want to include, well, how can we get the word out? That might be something to draw in a box. How to inform people? How do we, once we've informed them, then how do we organize our communities? And once we organize our communities, how maybe we want to make sure that the children growing know better than we knew to do with our world. And I'm saying draw now. I'm not expecting, we don't expect you to be artists. And I'm going to show you one that I did. I am not an artist. So my desired future state, the fish are happy, the turtle is happy, and the people are happy because everything's clean and beautiful. But I started then and looked in box 2 where we are now. There's trash everywhere. The water's polluted. The fish looks like he's almost dead. And so in my idea was then maybe PSAs on TV to inform people about beach trash. Now this, I'm showing you this screen not so that you can do it just like mine, but so you can see you truly do not have to be an artist to participate in this activity. So however you draw your people or your animals or whatever it is that you are interested in, I'd like you now to take, we're going to take about, what time is it? Let me stop sharing.
10 minutes.
Yeah, so you can have 10 minutes to work on your storyboard. And so remember, the important thing is to start with box 7, desired, with number, it's labeled number 1, desired future, and draw where you would love to see, what did your meditation look like? And then go to the present. So please finish up your drawings and
Like 30
going to-
seconds.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we're going to take the opportunity now to share your work. We are going to send you to breakout rooms, and there will be 5 to 7 people in each room. And what we'd like you to do is share your storyboards with the other persons in your room, taking no more than 1 minute each. So please kind of keep track of the time. And so of course, begin with your desired future state and then where we are now and how we might get to where you'd like to go. It would be great if you hold up to the camera. Sometimes it's tricky now with these virtual backgrounds, but you might be able to share by showing. But we would like you to take just 1 minute each. And then after everyone's had a turn to show what they've done, then have a discussion among the group. What similarities do you see in people's ideas and what differences do you see? And as you work in your groups, please remember that we want to defer judgment. We're not here to judge other people's ideas or to say that we like them or don't like them, but we're hearing from each other. We want to see how we might be in agreement on some things and what new ideas might we get from hearing from our neighbors in our breakout rooms. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you had as wonderful a discussion as we did in my breakout room. And we're going to ask Leslyn Tong now to lead us in a debrief of what we just shared together, along with some other instructions.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. I see some people are coming back into the space. So thank you for that. And as Debbie said, I hope the breakout rooms, the conversations that took place there was as insightful as you anticipated it being. So if we take up a few minutes and just have one person from each group, let's have a bit of a discussion as to what are some of the surprising things that you were able to share with each other, some of the things that you if you were to share your drawings, what were some of the things that stood out to you? Just spend about 3 minutes on that. I don't know who would like to start.
I can start.
Okay, great.
Yes, yes. So we had a lot of great ideas in my group. There was a discussion about the role of education and getting people together to discuss. So forum like this, I think, makes me feel of sort of start to get that discussion going. But the point is also understanding the role that I play in creating garbage and tossing garbage, and that the change starts with us before moving to ask others to change. There was also a lot of discussion about this idea of reusing resources and figuring out ways to reuse resources and repair what's broken. So through education of the public, but also labor workforce development, trying to encourage this idea that things can be repaired, things can be reused or repurposed. But that getting the workforce, the tools, the equipment to recreate the compost and the and the reused water and other items, the repurposing of household item for other household that might need something that maybe you don't want anymore because you are remodeling your house or whatever. So really sort of getting those ideas and training the workforce and educating the public about it. And then the idea of also making sure we have enforcement and really sort of get the enforcement to go with the policy change to ensure that all the positive gets under check. And then the other idea was an idea about really asking for more volunteers and really promotion of volunteering to do the cleanup, and again to lead by example, because if I change, you change. I said one person in the group.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And so in my group, we had a bit of a discussion around some of those very things that you mentioned. What we're going to do now, as was highlighted with what you shared, is look at some of the obstacles, right? And as we look at the obstacles, whether they be real or imagined, we are going to engage in a divergent thinking exercise to help to identify ways in which we could overcome those obstacles. And to do that, we're going to, one of the things that we do is to phrase those challenges, those obstacles as questions, open-ended questions that would help us to invite new thinking. And that's what we need at this time, looking at how we could prevent or save our environment, is to look at new ways and try to generate new thinking around the ways in which we could do that. And Debbie, you have the slide. The language we use open-ended questions, as I said. We start the questions with statements that include how to, how might, in what ways might, and what might be all the ways. By doing that, you're really opening up yourself for to provide more thinking, more options, if you will. And as we do that, though, there are some guidelines, I would say, that we ask for you to consider. Differing judgment, just letting it, don't evaluate anything, just let it out. Strive for quantity and look at the wild and unusual ideas. If we begin judging, then we will put some limits to our imagination, and that's not what we want. We want to find new and innovative ways to solve the problems, to overcome the obstacles that we're confronted. And as we do that, as ideas come, we want to be able to build on those ideas one at a time. So the next slide sort of highlights how we would phrase those questions. So a question or a statement that would say, it's too expensive, would be converted using an open-ended format, would read, how might we fund it? And by asking that question, you open up yourself for so many possibilities. And so this is what we're going to spend just about 5 minutes doing, just looking at the storyboard that you've created and identifying what might some of the obstacles you might have identified in getting to that desired future state, and frame those obstacles as questions, open-ended questions. Again, if you go back to the next slide, how to, how might, in what ways might, what might be all the ways. How might we get the solid waste management individuals to get more of the public educated, just as an example. And so if we spend 5 minutes on that, if someone would play the music and we
Yes.
set the timer.
And just so that people know, I have put the open-ended questions in the chat, as well as Debbie and I have it behind us if you want to just look up, if you want to pin us, and you'll have it in front of you.
Great, and time starts now. Thank you. And you just scribble on your paper. We're not writing anything on the board. Mm-hmm. So we had some time to just reflect and look at what might be some of the obstacles that we would need to overcome and reframe those as questions, how to, how might, and in what ways might, and what might be all the ways. So what we will do now, what I'll ask for you to do now is the CGTC would like to collect your artwork, your creative outputs, and if you could share whatever you've created. Remember, it does not have to be perfect. It's a matter of providing them with information that they could use to improve to continue the work that they're doing. And I believe the email address is in the chat, and if you could upload your or share your pictures, to take a screenshot of what, if you did it on your on paper.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, if I could ask, just because I'm curious, I'm really curious. We're going to collect all your how-tos, how mights, and what ways might. But if people can just in the chat now write some of their some of the statements that they came up with, just to see, get a little snapshot of the work that we have ahead of us. Just put it in chat for a second. And while Leslie continues.
Yeah, so yes, you could use the chat as well. Perfect. And you could also send it to ariel.stolz@uvi.edu, ariel.stolz@uvi.edu. Okay, we have one person posting in the chat. Okay, perfect. So as we move on, as you keep posting your stuff, we will engage in a bit of a reflection, and I will need to use the chat to send the link as well. And please feel free. We're trying to make sure that there are multiple ways in which you can, be engaged, be involved, and share the information that we're asking for with us. Go ahead.
So yeah, just to be a little bit clearer, we want your drawings, we want your storyboards. we as in CGTC and the organizers of this webinar. And so if you have a phone, if you've drawn it and you have a phone or some other way, just take a picture and send. And the email address, I'll put it in chat again, because this is data. This is not just for you to take away with you. It's data that Creativity Lab is helping to collect for the CGTC and their partners so that they can continue the work. So that it is really important that your storyboards and your how-tos, how mights, and what ways might really are shared with the CGTC. So ariel.stoltz@uvi.edu is the email address.
It would be great if you all could even do that right now, so you don't forget.
Yes,
Because
before you leave.
all this information will be, they're going to look at, I think we said it earlier, they're going to look at all this information and create themes out of it, and even reach out to form working committees of some kind, so that this can go from a webinar to reality, to that first box that you drew, where the territory looks the way we picture it looking. And so your storyboards will help inform what it is people are interested in, what people are passionate about. So please, please, please make sure you send the pictures in to Ellie.
Yes, great. So Debbie, if you don't mind, you're muted.
Thank you. Yes, we are going to finish up right now. If I can get to my share screen. And for the last activity, we'd like you to go to the web. There's a website on the bottom of this screen. It takes you to Padlet, where you'll be able to answer these questions, circle what's still going around in your head. Can we get that? Would you put that in the chat, please, Dr. McHale? So
Yeah, I will put it in the chat, but also people can use the chat to answer these questions.
Okay, right, that's fine. So that might be easier. So what's squared away? What do you really understand? And triangle, which 3 takeaways could you use in your personal or work life? So in the chat, if you would write circle and then type what's still going around, what you're not sure of, what you still don't understand, square, and then type what you really got from it, what you understand about this topic, and then triangle, what are the 3 takeaways that you can use? So if you would put those in the chat, that would add to the data that is being collected. In fact, let's do that. Let's not do the website. Let's just all use the chat. So everything will be in one place. And then of course we'll be saving the chat. If you have a question, just please unmute yourself and ask if it's not clear what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I think at this point, you know, because we haven't heard, I know this is a very passionate group, and we've done it this way so that we could get as much information from everyone as possible. But if some of you are having a hard time with chat and you just want to give one statement, you can unmute and do this as well. But Pamela, I see your chat. But Greg, you were going to say something?
No, thank you.
Should I stop sharing? Is this written in the chat somewhere?
No, it's not, but
Maybe.
I would put it in the chat. Yes, so give me a moment.
Okay, I can't see it.
Yeah, but the persons are doing the chat really well.
Okay,
sorry.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah.
read out some of what we have so far. I see here, circle, how might the greater community, those who don't consider waste management an issue, be reached? Something that somebody's circle, how do we get better connected? Hearing the chickens. Unmute.
Mhm.
I see as someone has as a takeaway, continue mindful purchasing.
Mhm. I like
Oh,
that.
I like that.
So even as you continue this, I think we're going to turn it back over to CGTC and their partners so that they can give, but continue to put those in the chat so that we can capture, well, so that we can capture quite a bit of this. So if we can turn it back over to Ariel.
Yeah, and I would just like to let Kamiko speak for a little bit. She's on the call.
Oh yeah, hi.
Okay.
Can you hear me because my apparently my mic is a little wonky.
We hear you.
Yes.
Okay, super. Sorry, in the chat or in the breakout room it was wonky, but yeah, thank you everyone. This is so exciting, and thank you of course Ariel and UVI and Creativity Lab and Waste Management and DPNR and everyone who's here. As I like to say, many hands, hearts, and minds make a light load. So I am really appreciating everyone coming together in this way. I think it's sort of the first time that we're all doing this together collectively, both with the government and with the entire community and the university to try and problem solve together. I find it really exciting. And one of the things that we're hoping, just so you know, the direction where we're hoping to go with this is ultimately the Virgin Islands will be developing an integrated sustainable materials management plan. And we're hoping that, all of your ideas can be, distilled down and structured in such a way that they can be incorporated into the materials management plan in some way. And so, the bigger, bolder, better, the better, because I think, ultimately we need to sort of radically change our paradigm. And, it's very important to take whatever steps we can on a daily basis in our own lifestyles. But one of the things that we're trying to do at EPA is really change the paradigm of how people view materials, that there's no such thing as a waste, there's just poor planning. And if we plan better and if we modeled our society, our behavior, our consumption after nature, there would really be no waste, because in nature everything gets reused. And so we're trying to move our entire program away from the concept of waste, that anything is a waste. So we've actually rebranded ourselves, and we're not really using the term solid waste as much. And we're trying, I mean, it has its place, but we're trying to migrate our whole program towards what we call sustainable materials management and a life cycle approach, where we keep things moving throughout, or looking at the whole life cycle of materials and how we can, at every step of the way, from extraction to production to transportation to distribution, how we can do a deeper dive in each of those and see how we can make them less impactful, and ultimately how we could reduce the materials that we use to only what we need, and try and make them as sustainable as possible and with as few toxics as possible, and how we can keep them moving throughout throughout a circular economy so that they're reused over and over and over again and potentially upcycled to create green jobs and a green economy. And so that's sort of the direction that we're trying to move in. And so this work that you're doing here, I think, is really, really so critical to changing that paradigm and sort of reframing the whole infrastructure to be more sustainable and looking at opportunities where of turning a problem into a solution. So, okay, we have this excess and excess that. Instead of saying waste this and waste that, well, we have too much. Okay, so we've generated too much of this. So now what can we do with this as thoughtfully as possible to potentially address some other solution, some other issue on the island? So for instance, glass, we have maybe too much glass, it's getting crushed, it's not really getting used, it's just getting thrown in the landfill. Could we potentially upcycle this into maybe some cool vases that could be sold to tourists, or could we potentially grind that glass down and use it for beach nourishment or golf courses, or in engineering for roadbed construction, or filtration for the wastewater treatment plants or constructed wetlands? So things like that, that's kind of the direction that we're moving towards. So I thank everyone for your participation, because this is all super critical. And I encourage you all to review some of the earlier webinars, because there are a lot of moving pieces right now. They are planning to expand the Bavoni waste facility into a RCRA Subtitle D compliant facility, and potentially have a reuse innovation center there, where we could potentially have a one-stop shop for reuse and repair and resale. The same thing for St. Croix. So here's where, all the hands come in terms of the ideas. But rather than recreate the wheel or develop something that doesn't really make sense, one of the key components is just finding out what's happening in the Virgin Islands already, like even some very small efforts that we may not be that familiar with. And that's where we need the public to come in and say, hey, I know about this happening over there. And they're reusing such and such materials. And so I encourage you all to get back to Ariel or any one of us about ideas, because we'd like to amplify the efforts that are currently happening and connect the dots, because my feeling has always been, most of the solutions are out there. It's just a matter of connecting the dots. So thank you. I think we're doing some incredible dot connecting with the Creativity Lab program today.
Thank you so much, Kamiko. And yeah, definitely agree with everything that you said, how we need to move away from the thinking about this as trash, but to actually thinking about it as materials, and thinking about also how we can reduce the amount of just stuff that we use every day, so that we're not throwing anything away. And so I really enjoyed hearing all of the ideas when I was in the breakout room, but also watching the chat now and seeing what you guys circled, squared, and triangled away. And so, yeah, we will be now, like us as the organizers of this webinar, we will be taking all of your storyboards that you've just sent to me, all of this chat information and the what was said in the breakout rooms, and looking to identify main themes that we notice that persist across multiple people, that many people highlight as one of the main obstacles or maybe main interest areas. And so from that, we hope to take this group of people who we see is very passionate and interested in this issue to keep working on these problems. So today is not the end of our webinar series. Well, it is, but it's really the start of hopefully like working towards a plan, creating plans for these different interest areas. And so we will be sending out more information about this in the future. We'd like to give everyone a chance to fill out the storyboards. Also, if you have friends or colleagues who would be interested in this but couldn't attend today, we'll be sending the recording and the information of how to fill out the storyboard, so that they can still send it to us even after the fact. so we can get as many voices heard as possible. And so basically with these groups, we hope to have the Creativity Lab kind of train a leader in each group who can be facilitating similar to this process today, but looking at not just ideating, but developing it into a strategic plan for how to get these great ideas that we came up with today, how we can get them implemented, how we can work past those how to and how might I and what are all the ways questions, and how to find those potential solutions to those. And so yeah, please look out for more emails from us regarding these groups. And if you're interested in continuing working on this, we, as Kamika said, it takes the whole community. And so we're really excited that you all have been along for the ride for this month. And yeah, we hope that we can continue this topic and really make some progress here, so that we can have a more sustainable Virgin Islands. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariel, and everyone, and UVI Creativity Lab.
Yes,
And
thank you,
Ramon.
UVI Creativity Lab, for today. It was
Thank
great.
you for having us.
You are
Just,
welcome.
I just want to, does anybody from the audience have anything to say before we close? Thank you everyone for participating. And as Ariel said, we will follow up, but just wanted to see if anybody from the audience has something that they want to express before we close. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Oh, I see there's some chat. Okay.
And as a Creativity Lab, if you're still here, any reflection on the exercise in the chat would be helpful as well. Just, how did you feel going through it? Did you get new ideas? Did you see it as, anything that you have to share about the actual exercise? If you could just drop it in the chat before you leave, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
please
everyone.
stay tuned for upcoming sessions. They're going to be really exciting, and please have a look at all of the previous webinars and the materials posted on the CGTC website, because I think they're all really great read and great curriculum pieces. If you're in the education sector. Many hands make a light load. Thank you so much.